Hello friends, today's topic is what is delimitation and how the dangers of delimitation can be averted. My lesson plan includes why it is in the news, what is delimitation, why southern states are so much nervous about delimitation, dangers of delimitation in India, how can we address the complaints of the southern states with regard to delimitation, and finally conclusion. Friends, as you might have read in the newspaper that the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin vociferously opposed the delimitation exercise. He said that delimitation would cause irreparable loss to Tamil Nadu and other southern states. An all-party meeting of MPs of Tamil Nadu was convened by him and they resolved to oppose the delimitation exercise tooth and nail. He has stated that delimitation would have an impact upon the federal structure of our constitution and it will reduce the political importance of Tamil Nadu and southern states in the national politics. And so he demanded that if delimitation exercise is conducted, there should be proportionate increase in the number of MPs in the Lok Sabha for Tamil Nadu and other southern states. Friends, now question arises as to what is delimitation. The delimitation aims at fair distribution and representation of people in Lok Sabha and state assemblies by adjusting constitutional boundaries after every census. Friends, as you know that because of the urbanization, migration and economic development, population shifts from one place to another. Secondly, there are states where the population growth is more than in other states. For example, the total fertility rate in the state of Bihar, Eastern UP, Jharkhand, Meghalaya is far greater than that of the states of South India. And so, the increase in the population in the last 50 years have been more in the northern states rather than in southern states. While southern states developed very much economically, their per capita income has risen. We compare with northern states so many times. But as far as population is concerned, the southern states have implemented family planning program very much effectively. Our constitution stands for one person, one vote and one value. And so the constitution mandates that as far as possible, every constituency, Lok Sabha and state assemblies should represent equal number of voters with exception for smaller states. That's why after every census, the delimitation exercise was done in India. The Delimitation Commission was constituted in 1952, 1963 and 1972 after the census of 1951, 1962 and 1971 as per the provision of Article 82. But by 42nd Amendment, a delimitation exercise was frozen till 2001, and in 2002 by 84th Amendment the freeze on delimitation was extended up to 2026. The freeze on delimitation was done for the purpose of improving the family planning programs in southern India and across country. However, it has its side effect, so much so that while an MP, the state of UP or Bihar, is elected by about 30 to 32 lakhs voters for Lok Sabha, an MP in Kerala is elected by around 17 to 18 lakh voters in the Lok Sabha election. And so there occurred a wide gap between the north and the south, so much so that the value of votes for southern India is very much greater than that of the northern India. The new delimitation wants to bridge this gap of under representation of North Indian states and over representation of southern Indian states. The southern Indian states contend that since they have developed their economies. Their per capita income is far greater than that of northern Indian states. They have developed infrastructure, education, healthcare, reduced total fertility rate. They have longer life expectancy. So there is a wide inequality between northern and southern state insofar as economic indices are concerned. They contend that it is imperative to reduce inequalities between the north and southern states before starting new delimitation exercise. Supporters of delimitation argue that since Parliament has already passed for 1/3 representation of women in the Lok Sabha after 2029, it cannot be implemented without delimitation exercise. Secondly, the population of SC and ST has also risen in the last 50 years, and so delimitation is necessary to give them representation in proportion to their population. Thirdly, because of the higher growth of urbanization in India, most of the population shifted from rural to urban areas, and so it is necessary to give representation to urban dwellers. Now, question is why southern states are so much nervous with regard to the new delimitation exercise to be launched from 2026 onwards. Friends, as you know that our Lok Sabha is composed on the basis of 1971 census, and the present strength of the Lok Sabha is 543, where the representation of southern states is 132 seats, while for the northern states, I mean Hindi heartland, it is 225 seats. The present Lok Sabha was composed on the basis of giving the base population at 10.11 lakh for every constituency in the bigger states. If the new delimitation exercise makes the baseline of 20 lakh voters for a constituency, the strength of the Lok Sabha would be 707 MPs. Out of the total strength of the new Lok Sabha, the Hindi heartland states would have the strength of 350 to 375 MPs. It means Hindi heartland states or northern Indian states would have clear-cut majority in the Lok Sabha, with UP, Bihar, MP, Rajasthan would get lion's share in the Lok Sabha seats. On the other hand, there would not be any increase in the total strength of MPs from the present 39 in the new setup of Lok Sabha. The southern states would be by and large loser, and so their proportionate strength would lower compared with the northern states. Since BJP has the dominant position in the northern Indian states, it will get majority even if doesn't get sufficient votes in southern and eastern states. This new scenario would be very much detested and opposed by the Congress party, which has comparatively a strong hold in southern India, regional parties, and by and large southern states, because they will lose their political importance in the national politics. So there is a danger of the bigger divide between the north and the south, politically as well as emotionally. Regional parties, other stakeholders, and Congress party would fight tooth and nail because they will lose political relevance in the change scenario. Political analysts are of the view that there are so many fault lines in India. These are economic, political, ethnic, and cultural. There is a wide chasm between Hindi speaking and non-Hindi speaking of southern states. There is a wide regional disparities insofar as different economic indices are concerned between the northern and southern states. The per capita income is very low in Bihar when compared with the states of Goa, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, or Kerala. There is a frequent ethnic violence in northeastern states. Manipur has been going through ethnic strife for the last 3 years. Critics also opine that with the dominance of BJP in the Hindi heartland, southern Indian states are further marginalized, and so there is a widening wedge between northern and southern states. So they argue that before bridging the cultural, political, economic and ethnic divide, the delimitation exercise should be frozen indefinitely. Now, what is solution? How to address the complaints of southern states? Number one, to strengthen the power and structure of Rajya Sabha. Friends, as you know that in the US, every state sends 2 members in the Senate. Since the US has 50 states, so the total strength of the Senate is 100 members. So it is suggested that in India, every state should have equal representation irrespective of its population. Secondly, as of now, the financial and economic power of Rajya Sabha is very much limited vis-a-vis Lok Sabha. And so it is suggested that Rajya Sabha should also be empowered like Lok Sabha in matters relating to finance and budgeting. Article 81 should be amended so that every state should have minimum 5 MPs from that state, irrespective of its population. No state should have more than 15% representation in the Lok Sabha in order to avoid dominance. It is also suggested that delimitation should not only take into account population as the criteria, but also other development indices while determining the number of constituencies. It is also suggested that since the decision of the Delimitation Commission is final and no writ petition can be filed against the decision of Delimitation Commission in the higher judiciary, there should be transparency in the selection of chairman and members of Delimitation Commission, and it should include not only Prime Minister, a cabinet minister, but also the leader of opposition party in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the Chief Justice of India, the Chief Election Commissioner of India, so that there should be a wide discussion with regard to the selection of the candidate for the chairmanship of Delimitation Commission and its members. The representation of the Lok Sabha should be made in such a way that no one region in India is to dominate over other regions. There should be a fine balance among different regions across India. So friends, now I conclude, a one-size-fits-all approach would not be suitable for the delimitation exercise. Otherwise, it would create regional tensions across the country. A multi-factor approach is needed, which should be a mix of population, economic indices, governing efficiency, political sensitivity in determining the number of constituencies that a state would represent, in line with the national principle of unity in diversity. So friends, I have concluded my lecture. If you like this video, please share and subscribe and give your valuable suggestions so that I can make a better video next time. Thank you very much.